So, obviously, and we'd be doing this even if we didn't have the game on NBC. Coverage begins 7 o'clock Eastern on NBC and also Peacock with Football Night in America. But even if we didn't have the game, it would be a big deal. So we're going to spend some time talking about Tom Brady going back to New England from different angles, folks. You haven't heard most of this. And one thing you haven't heard, most likely, is Tom Brady from the Let's Go podcast. The phrase that he usually utters with a third word, a word that Chris is very familiar with, that word is omitted from the title of the podcast. Here's Brady from earlier this week talking about his triumphant or otherwise return to Foxborough this weekend.
When I think of 20 years in one place, you're right. I know that locker room. I know that home locker room. I know that home tunnel. I know, which way the wind blows. I know everything about that. I know the way it smells. I know what a night game's like. I know what the fans are going to sound like. So in some ways, that'll be really unique. I've never had that experience going to, New England. It'll be a first time for me being on the other sideline. So, I'm not going to necessarily reminisce. I don't think this is the moment for that. And I'll have plenty of opportunities to reminisce about my football career. None of which I really care to do right now because I'm so much in the moment. And I'm not going to be thinking about, 20 years of history. I'm going to be thinking about one night of football, a Sunday night game, coming off a really tough loss. They're coming off a really tough loss. So both teams are going to be fighting and clawing for a win.
Now, it's easy for him to say all those things.
Yeah.
I'm reminded of what Coach Dungy explained over the weekend. He did the same thing back in 2003 when he returned to Tampa for the first time with the Colts. You say it and you say it and you say it, and then you get there, and it doesn't matter what you've said. It's not some other game. It's not some other night. This is a big deal, and he's going to hear it. And Chris, Shereen Williams and I were talking about this yesterday on PFTPM. He's going to hear it twice. He's going to get the ovation at the appropriate time before the game. And at some point in the first or second quarter, when he gets to 68 passing yards, I assume they're going to stop the game. They're going to hand him the laminated sheet of 8.5 by 11-inch paper that says all-time passing yardage record. I wonder if Drew Brees will actually surrender the one that was given to him a few years ago because Drew will be there.
Yeah, right.
But there's going to be two different moments of emotion. And I don't care what he says, unless he truly has gone full cyborg, and there is a chance that he has, he's going to have a human moment at some point early in the game.
I would imagine so. I can't even imagine how he's going to feel. I really can't. It's one of those where you go, let me put myself in his shoes and go, okay, yeah, no, I can't put myself in his shoes. This is a special category here. This is Michael Jordan going back to Chicago when he's with the Washington Wizards. I mean, this is different stratosphere of athlete, fame, landmark to the city of Boston and the New England area. I mean, Tom Brady's, he's a star. He's a legend. I mean, that's where, I have a hard time thinking even Tom Brady, as focused as he is, being able to fight off some emotions early in the game, the way he'll get cheered, like you said, when he runs out for pregame. I think even when he runs out, his first drive of the game, you're going to hear cheers still there as well. The emotions of dealing with, hey, there is Coach Belichick and Josh McDaniels and all these other people in the organization that he's loved for all these years. Mr. Kraft, you talk about the passing yard thing. Yeah, that's one thing. I would think if I'm the Patriots and Bill Belichick too, I'm telling Mr. Kraft to have a tribute to Tom Brady at some point during the game too, to take his mind off the game again and have those emotions.
Yes.
So
all in.
Right?
All in. Roll out the red carpet, red carpet on top of it. We love Tommy. It's Tommy, 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 because they know that if he gets sufficiently emotional, that's a way to mess with him. And it almost makes me wonder, is he going to have some hard shell where he's going to resist it?
Right.
Because he doesn't want to give into it, but then he could come off looking like a jerk. But he needs to insulate himself. He needs to work on that and visualize it. That's one thing that Drew Brees said this weekend when he was getting ready to set the passing yardage record, and he knew they were going to stop the game, and he knew he was going to be emotional. So he got all the emotions out of the way the week leading up to the game, so in the moment he wouldn't let that affect him. It's going to be so much easier said than done. Chris, the old saying is when you're about to die, your life passes before your eyes. This feels like a moment to me, a living moment where 20 years will pass before Tom Brady's eyes. And everything that he achieved, accomplished, his family developments from kids being born, getting married, just everything that happened in 20 years. It's going to potentially pass before his eyes when he's in that moment, when he's back in that environment. I know when I just go up to my hometown and drive around, and it's only an hour away, you feel different. You get emotional. You put yourself back in those days when you were young and you go through your old neighborhood and it feels the same, but it feels weird. And I can't imagine trying to function in an environment like that when you're only doing it one time.
No, I can't either. I really can't. And, Drew Brees' comment was I think very interesting. I mean, the fact that he said he would get the cry in a big game or anything like that. He'd get the crying out of the way on like a Monday or Tuesday before the game. Brady, of course, he's very into mind, breathing, connecting all of that. Maybe he does have meditation moments this week where he tries to visualize himself there and do that. The other thing that jumped out to me is this, Mike, just a little bit, because, of course, I knew we were going to talk about this. And this is just recent. Was our first game of the year in Tampa, of course, with the Dallas Cowboys in town. But, I've been in pregame and seen Tom Brady a bunch of times in my life and been on the field, got the great privilege to play against him once, and, he whooped my butt and the Bucs' butt. But he all the times I'd always seen him, it was always business. Let's Evan go. Oh. And he was just a man on a mission. And he was one of those guys that you weren't going to go over and hey, Tom, what's up? Have a good game today. He gave you the impression no, it's business. I'm throwing balls over here. You worry about your business. Maybe I'll say hi to you after the game. I feel like he's in a different place right now. And it really popped to me during the game, that first game of the year, because he just, like we see in his life right now on social media, he just seems very at ease and comfortable. He was talking to a lot of people in pregame. He ran over, of course, to the set to say hi to Tony Dungy and Drew Brees and shoot the crap with them for a few minutes and say hi. And you could tell there was other people he was laughing with and having fun with. And that was a side I had never seen. So maybe he is at this point of his life where he can just relax and embrace it. He knows he's so awesome. The game is so slow. It's mentally not exhausting to him anymore. So maybe where he can just enjoy it. I'm really going to be interested to see the psychology of it when the night comes.
And I think that's a great point. He's so deep into house money with his career.
Yeah.
Right. He's achieved everything that he ever could have set out to achieve. And I know he's always obsessed with getting the next one. What's your favorite Super Bowl ring? It's the next one. He wants to get to 8, and then he'll want to get to 9, then he'll want to get to 10. That's just how he's wired. But even if it all ended right now, he's got the greatest career of any individual player in league history. The only question is, how much stronger does the debate get as to whether or not he's the greatest athlete ever in any sport? And I think that's still got a few more championships to go before it's a real thing. But it at least is on the minds of some people. And
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.